Hello everyone. Hope you're doing just fine. Well, I'm good. I'm fine. Thanks for asking, by the way. Well, buddies, today we'll be sharpening our punctuation skills. Okay, we'll be dealing with the colon. So, may I ask everyone to open their books to page 16? Page 16, punctuation. The colon, colon. You see this sign here? Okay, this is called colon. By the way, everyone, please don't confuse colon with semicolon. You see, they are different, so just watch out for these. You see, this is semicolon, but this is colon, so don't confuse them. Colon and semicolon. By the way, may I ask you to pay attention to the correct pronunciation as well? Colon, colon. Okay. So, we're going to learn how to learn using the colon. So, the colon has primarily three grammatical uses and several non-grammatical uses. Okay, primarily means mainly. So, this sign, the colon has some grammatical and some non-grammatical uses. So, God willing, today we'll be dealing with the grammatical uses of the colon. So, the first grammatical use of colon, guys, is to introduce a list. So, when we have a list in our sentence, and we'd like to introduce a list, we use the colon. So, introducing a list, mentioning a list. The colon is used to introduce a list of items. So, whenever there is a list, we use the colon. Check the example out, please. The bookstore specializes in three subjects. You see, three subjects, colon, art, comma, architecture, comma, and graphic design. Well, you know what art is? Architecture is the art of and practice of designing and making buildings. Architecture, designing buildings. Graphic design, everyone, it is the art of designing pictures for books, for magazines, for advertising, etc. So, you see, everyone, we have a list here. So, the bookstore specializes in three subjects. So, what are these three subjects? We are going to make a list, guys. Okay, what are these three subjects? So, we use a colon. These three subjects are, everyone, art, architecture, and graphic design. So, since we have a list of items here, we use a colon. Do not, however, use a colon when the listed items are incorporated into the flow of the sentence. Okay? So, everyone, incorporated into the flow of the sentence means it is a part of the rest of the sentence. So, an important point, guys. If the list is part of the sentence, it includes the part of the sentence, we don't need any colons. Check it out. The bookstore specializes in art, comma, architecture, comma, and graphic design. You see, guys, we don't have any colons here. Why? Because the list art, architecture, and graphic design is part of our sentence. It has been incorporated into the rest of the flow of the sentence. Okay? So, to put it in a nutshell, whenever our list is part of our sentence, no comma needed. So this is wrong to use colons here. Okay, the second grammatical use is use is between independent clauses. Okay, guys, before we deal with it, I need to explain the difference between dependent clause and an independent clause. So let's see. Just a second. Okay. So, well, everyone, what is a clause? Okay. So, what is a clause? Guys, clause is a group of words consisting a subject and a verb. Okay? So, clause is a group of words consisting a subject and a verb. For example, just a second. Okay. Yes. Well, check this out, everyone. I can't cook very well, but I make quite good pancakes. So, I can't cook very well, but I make quite good pancakes. Everyone, here we have two clauses. So, you see, I can't cook very well. It is our first clause. And I make quite good pancakes is our second clause. Everyone, both of them are main or independent clauses. So both are main or independent clauses. Okay? So I can't cook very well is an independent clause. It is a main clause. I make quite good pancakes, again, is a main or independent clause. Alright, another example. Just a second. Yes. Okay. Check this out. Here, I'll get you some stamps if I go to town. I'll get you some stamps if I go to town. Again, guys, we have two clauses here. I'll get you some stamps, and if I go to if I go to town, okay? I'll get you some stamps if I go to town. Guys, here, I'll get you some stamp, again, is a main clause. It is an independent clause. But if I go to town is a subordinate clause, or it is a dependent clause. Okay? So, again, let me write them down here. Okay. Yeah. So, everyone, these are two types of clauses in English. So, there are two types of clauses, two kinds of clauses in English. We have main or independent clauses, and there is subordinate or dependent clauses. Okay? So, what is the difference between these two clauses? Everyone, an independent clause or a main clause makes sense by itself. Okay? It expresses a complete thought. While a dependent clause or a subordinate clause does not make sense by itself. It does not express a complete thought. Guys, a complete clause usually begins with a subordinating conjunction, a relative pronoun, or some other words that causes it to be dependent. A dependent clause will make sense only when attached to an independent clause. And guys, dependent clauses can come after, before, or in the middle of the independent clauses. So here, I'll get you some stamp. Does it make sense by itself? It sure does. So everyone, this is a main clause. It is an independent clause. I'll get you some stamp. Finished. Okay. It is meaningfully complete. It makes sense by itself. But what about this one, everyone? If I go to town, okay, what? If I go to town, does it make sense by itself? Is it meaningfully complete? Of course not. You see, we need something to complete its meaning. So, if I go to town is a dependent or a subordinate clause. Alright? A dependent or a subordinate clause. Well, I've got some examples here, everyone. Okay, so, alright. So, everyone, when I was dating Diana, I had an accident. Okay? Well, guys, when I was dating Diana is our clause. So, what kind of clause is it, do you think? Is it a main or a dependent clause? Is it independent or dependent? Okay, when I was dating Diana is dependent. It doesn't make sense by itself. Okay, I had an accident. What about this one? I had an accident. It is a main clause. It is an independent clause. Next one. I know the man who stole the watch. I know the man who stole the watch. Okay, I know the man. I know that man. It is a main clause. It is an independent clause. What about this one? Who stole the watch? Okay, is it complete? Who stole the watch? No. It is a dependent clause. Next one. He bought a car which was too expensive. Well, he bought a car. It is a main clause. Which was expensive? It is a dependent clause. Okay, a subordinate clause, dependent clause. Okay, I know that he cannot do it. Okay, I know that. I know what? It is a dependent clause. He cannot do it. He cannot do it is a main clause, is an independent clause. Okay, he doesn't know where he was born. So he doesn't know. He doesn't know. A main clause. Where he was born, a dependent clause, a subordinate clause. If you don't eat, comma, I won't go. So if you don't eat, okay, then what? We need something here, as you can see. It is a dependent clause. I won't go. It is a main clause. It is an independent clause. He is a very talented player, though he is out of form. Well, he is a very talented player. It is a main clause. It is an independent clause. It makes sense by itself. Though he is out of form is a dependent clause or a subordinate clause. Okay. So, it was necessary to get this part. So, everyone, we use the colon. This is one of the grammatical uses of colon. We use the colon between independent clauses when the second explains or illustrates the first. Okay, so we use the colon between independent clauses, main clauses, please pay attention. When the second here means the second clause, the second sentence, explains or illustrates the first clause or the first sentence. The colon is used to separate two independent clauses when the second explains or illustrates the first. In such uses, the colon functions in much the same way as the semicolon. Do not capitalize the first word after the colon unless the word is ordinarily capitalized. So, the colon is used to separate two independent clauses. We use the colon between two independent clauses when the second sentence explains or illustrates the first sentence. In such uses, everyone, when the second clause explains the first clause, the colon functions in much the same way as the semicolon. We can use a semicolon because the second sentence explains the first one. Do not capitalize the first word after the colon. Okay, remember, you shouldn't capitalize the first word after the colon unless the word is ordinarily capitalized. Ordinarily means usually. So, everyone, we don't capitalize the word after the colon, but if it is usually capitalized, for example, if we use the pronoun I, if we use a proper noun, if we use the name of a country, continent, I don't know, days of the week, months, we need to capitalize it. Okay? Now, check out the examples. I have very little time to learn the language. My new job starts in 5 weeks. So, everyone, you see the second sentence, my job starts in 5 weeks. It explains, it illustrates the first sentence. So, I have very little time to learn the language. Colon, we have an explanation here. My new job starts in 5 weeks. You know, 5 weeks is a short time to learn a new language. So this sentence explains or illustrates the first sentence. Guys, pay attention to my M here. So, is it capitalized? Of course not. So, we don't capitalize the first word after the colon. Don't forget, please. Next example. All 3 of their children are involved in the arts. Colon. Richard is a sculptor. Diane is a pianist. And Julie is a theater director. So, involved in the arts means they're doing something related to art, something artistic. Sculptor, everyone, someone who makes just statues, things out of stone, maybe wood, someone who makes sculptures. And a pianist is someone who plays the piano. So, again, all 3 of their children are involved in the arts. Okay, so, we have colon here. Okay, colon, because the second sentence explains or illustrates this first sentence. You see, everyone, Richard is capitalized. Why? Because it is a proper noun and we need to capitalize it. We just write Richard with a capital R. So, Richard is a sculptor with capital R, Diane is a pianist, and Julie is a theater director. Well, when 2 or more sentences follow a colon, capitalize the first word following the colon. So, everyone, if you use 2 or more sentences after a colon, 2 or more sentences, remember to capitalize the first word after the colon. Okay? Check out the example. He made 3 points. First, the company was losing over $1 million each month. Second, the stock price was lower than it had ever been. Third, no banks were willing to loan the company any more money. Okay, a couple of vocabulary, let me just explain them. Everyone, stock here means a share in a company. You know, at the stock market, you buy and sell shares. So stock means share. Well, then willing, everyone, willing means ready to do something. Willing to do something. Loan is a verb here. Loan. It means to lend money. So, everyone, he made 3 points. Colon. You see, after colon, we have first, second, and third. Remember, we have at least 2 sentences here. So 2 or more sentences. Remember, whenever there are at least 2 sentences after the colon, we capitalize the first word. You see, first has been capitalized here. So, he made 3 points, colon, first with a capital F, comma, the company was losing over $1 million each month, full stop, period. Second, capital S, comma, the stock price was lower than it had ever been, full stop. Third, capital T, comma, no banks were willing to loan the company any more money, full stop. Alright, well, the next use of the colon is emphasis. Emphasis. Emphasis is the noun form of emphasize. Emphasize. We've got it here. So emphasis means importance. Emphasize means to stress, to show the importance of something. So, the colon can be used to emphasize a phrase or single word at the end of a sentence. A dash can be used for the same purpose. In the second example below, a dash is more common than a colon, though the use of a colon is nevertheless correct. So, the colon can be used to emphasize, to show the importance, to stress a phrase or single word at the end of a sentence. So everyone, sometimes we want to emphasize a word or a phrase at the end of a sentence. In these cases, we use the colon. A dash can be used for the same purpose. We can use dashes to show the importance, to emphasize a word or a phrase too. In the second example below here, in this example, the writer means, so in the second example below, a dash is more common than a colon. We can use a dash here in the second example. Though, however, the use of a colon is nevertheless, is yet correct. So it is correct to use the colon here. So, after 3 weeks of deliberation, the jury finally reached a verdict: guilty. Well, everyone, deliberation means considering something or thinking about, discussing something, considering something. You know, jury, a group of people who decide at the court. Verdict means an opinion or a decision, and you know, guilty, opposite of innocent. So, after 3 weeks of deliberation, the jury finally reached a verdict. So what was that verdict? Colon, guilty, full stop. So we want to emphasize this word, guilty, here. So before that, we have used a colon. So colon, guilty, or dash, guilty. Next one, 5 continents, 3 dozen countries, over 100 cities. This was the trip of a lifetime. So, you know, continent, Asia, Europe, Australia. 3 dozen, everyone, you know, dozen means 12. So 3 dozen means 36. 3 dozen countries, 36 countries. And this was the trip of a lifetime. So, 5 continents, comma, 3 dozen countries, comma, over 100 cities, colon, Everyone, we want to emphasize this phrase, this was the trip of a lifetime. Because we want to emphasize it, we need to use a colon before it. Okay, so cities, colon, this was the trip of a lifetime. Instead of a colon, guys, here, we can use a dash too. Okay, we can use a dash. Alright, subdivisions. A colon can introduce a subdivision of a subject in a title or heading. Everyone, subdivision means dividing something into smaller parts. So, subdivision means dividing something into smaller parts. Okay? For example, a colon can introduce a subdivision of a subject in a title or heading. Well, punctuation is a general topic, general idea, everyone. Colon is a subdivision of this punctuation. Okay, subdivision. Or let me just okay. For example, everyone, we say tenses. Okay, tenses. Colon. Yeah. So tenses. Colon. Simple present, for example. Okay, simple present. Everyone, tenses is a general category. Tenses is a general category. Simple present is a subdivision of this general category. Okay. Another example. Colors. Okay. Then colon. For example, let's say purple, one of my favorite colors. Okay. So, you know, everyone, colors is a general category. Purple is a subdivision for. All right, let's move on. Well, another grammatical use of the colon. Introducing further information, more information, further information. Use a colon to introduce some more information about something mentioned earlier in the sentence. So, guys, if you'd like to add information to give more details, further information, you can use the colon. He wanted just one thing. So, what did he want? Colon, revenge, to add further information. Or, he knew what his wish would be. So, what was the wish? I'd like to add further information. Colon, the ability to turn stones into gold. Alchemy. Yeah, so he'd like to be an alchemist. So, you see here, in these two examples, the writer has given some further information, more information. So, he has used the colon. Colon, revenge, colon, the ability to turn stones into gold. Alright, notes. A lowercase letter is used after the colon if it is followed by a word or phrase or clause that explains or illustrates. Okay. So, everyone, a lowercase letter. Lowercase means not capital letters, yeah, just the small letters. A small letter is used after the colon. So we use a small letter after a colon if it is followed by a word or phrase, if we have a word or phrase, or we have a clause that explains or illustrates, that gives more information. So, word or phrase, these are some examples. Two things are required in the city. a good pair of shoes, and an umbrella. So, everyone, two things are required in the city. What are these two things? Colon, a good pair of shoes and an umbrella. Everyone, a good pair of shoes. You see, is not capitalized here. It is a lowercase letter, not a capital letter. We can't capitalize it. This is a phrase. A good pair of shoes and an umbrella. We have a phrase here. Or two things are required in the city. Take a good pair of walking shoes and an umbrella. So, two things are required in the city. Colon, take a good pair of shoes. This is a clause, guys. This is a clause. You see, because it is a clause, we don't capitalize T here. You see, it is in lowercase. Take. Well, an uppercase letter is used after the colon if the word is a proper noun, a sentence presented as a formal rule, or a series or a list of independent clauses. But guys, we use an uppercase letter. We use a capital letter. We use it after the colon if the word is a proper noun. Proper noun means the name of a particular place, name of a person, name of an object, for example, countries, days of the week, month, of course, these are always capitalized. For example, we use Ali, we use Iran, we use the Eiffel Tower. These are all proper nouns, everyone. So when we use a proper noun, when we have a sentence, when there is a sentence presented as a formal rule, or when there is a series or a list of independent clauses, okay, main clauses. In these three cases, everyone, we use uppercase letters. Check out the examples. Proper noun, adjective, or I. Two things are required in the city. Nike, Nike, and an umbrella. So, guys, two things are required, are needed in the city. What are these two things? Colon, Nike. Nike, as you know, is a proper noun. It is a name of a brand. So we need to capitalize it. You see, capital N. We have used an uppercase letter here. Nike's, capital N, and an umbrella. Another example. Everyone has to take 3 courses. English, Math, and Statistics. Well, you know, statistics, in statistics we deal with charts, with numbers, okay? So everyone has to take 3 courses. What are these 3 courses? Colon, English, comma, Math, comma, and Statistics. Everyone, English is a proper noun, so we need to capitalize E here. English with a capital E. Alright, so it is a proper noun. And the last one, I want to be well prepared for class. I read the textbook before the course begins. So, I want to be well prepared for the class, to be ready for the class. Okay, how? Colon, I read the textbook. You see, guys, I read the textbook is a sentence here. Okay, so we need to capitalize the first letter, or he wants to be well prepared for the class. Colon, he reads the textbook. He should be capitalized here. Textbook, everyone, this is our textbook. Okay, you see, High 3 textbook. So I read the textbook before the course begins. Well, Introduction to rules. So when we use rules, let's see. Let me say this. Healthcare should be available to everyone in the country. Okay, said by a politician, of course. Yeah. So let me say this. Healthcare. Everyone, healthcare means the services, the set of services provided by a country or by an organization for looking after the health of all the people. Healthcare. So here, guys, in these examples, we are introducing some rules. So let me say this, colon, healthcare should be available to everyone in the country. It should be possible. Everyone should have, okay, should be covered. So because we have a rule, we have a sentence, everyone, we capitalize H here. Okay, we capitalize H. Next one. This is what you need to remember. The customer is always right. So, this is what you need to remember. Colon. The customer is always right. The customer, you see capital T. Remember, turn off all lights before you leave the facility. Again, we are just presenting a rule, okay? So, facility, by the way, here means a place, a building. So remember, this is a rule, remember, colon, turn off all the lights, capital T, turn off all the lights before you leave the facility, the building. Note, all sales are final. Note, pay attention. I'm going to introduce a rule. So what is the rule? All sales, all capital A, all sales are final. Final, everyone, when something is final, it cannot and it will not be changed. Yeah, it is fixed. So it is not going to be changed. Yeah, they are final. Okay, two or more sentences. Two important ideas come to mind. First, the product must be easy to use. Second, the product must be sleek. So, everyone, when we have at least two sentences after a colon, so we have two or more sentences after a colon, we can capitalize the first letter after the colon. So check this out. Two important ideas come to mind. So what are these two important ideas? Colon, first, capital F first, comma, the product must be easy to use. The product means the item, something that has been made. So it must be easy to use, user-friendly. Second, comma, the product must be sleek. Sleek means smooth, shiny. Or we can say two important ideas come to mind, colon, first with a lowercase letter, first, not a capital letter. First, comma, the product must be easy to use, semicolon, second, comma, the product must be sleek, full stop. And finally, we have testimony, transcript, and dialogue. Everyone, we use colons in testimonies. Testimony means a formal statement, a formal sentence. Transcript, you know, the transcript of a listening fight, yeah, what the speakers say. And in dialogues, again, in dialogues, we use colons, everyone. Smith. So Smith says, colon. When did you first meet Mr. Lee? Question mark. Jones says, Jones, semicolon. It was on New Year's Eve of last year. New Year's Eve, everyone, means the last day of the year. New Year's Eve. Smith says, so Smith, colon. Was it before or after midnight? So you see we have a dialogue here. So we can use colons. We can use colons in testimonies and in transcripts. Okay, guys, that's it. We're done with page 16. We've got just 2 pages left, that is pages 17 and 18. By the way, guys, the final exam is just around the corner. I do hope you've already started reviewing the book because we don't have much time left. Well, this is Mr. Mazlumi from Chitsazan Language Institute. Until next session, everyone.